Hi guys, welcome to part 14th of the social network project in Django. So this is where we left off the last time. We were able to accept or reject invitations from different users. And now it's time to work on the See Profile button. So once we click it, we will be able to see the profile of the particular user, and we will have some informations about how many posts did the user write, how many likes the user received, and also how many friends does the user have, as well as we will see the posts of this particular user. And of course, we will be also able to add this user to our friends list. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, so I'm at Profiles, Views PY, and yeah, we will create our detail view for our profile. So let me import from Django views generic not only the list view, but we will also need a detail view because we will create another class-based view. And I'm going to borrow some of the code from the profile list view because the logic will be pretty much the same. So maybe at the top, I will define a new class called profile detail view, which inherits from detail view. And let's specify the model. It will be, of course, profile. And then let's also specify the template name. And this is going to be maybe profiles detail HTML. Okay. We will also need to define some methods. So I will start with getObject. And with this getObject, we will simply write self slug is equal to none. And for now, I'm going to write down pass because it's better to finish this off once we have this profile detail view registered. So I'm going to save this views.py file, head over to the URLs, and over here, maybe above the profile list view, I'm going to import profile detail view. And we can do one major change. I'm going to grab this all profiles path, and I'm going to set it as blank. So this is going to be our main path for our profiles application. And then, yeah, maybe somewhere over here, or maybe a little bit below, somewhere over here, we can define a new one with a slug. And here, instead of profile list view, we are going to pass a profile detail view. Okay, I forgot about the slash profile detail view as view, and here we can put in profile detail view as the name. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and save this. And now we are going to grab this slug. So in the views.py, we can do it by getting an object, and we will get the object by the slug. So by default it's none, and then we can set a variable called slug is equal to self keyword arguments get, and we want to get the slug, and then we can set the profile is equal to, and then we need to simply write down profile objects get, and we want to get it by the slug. So slug is equal to the slug. All right, and we simply need to return the profile. So with this method, we are returning the profile we are currently viewing, okay? So we have this get object, and now we will need to use get context data. And we will have the same logic as over here. So let me actually copy everything from here. So from the profile list view and put it below. We will make some adjustments in just a second. So, okay, first of all, I'm going to delete this. And here below the rel sender, we are going to write context posts. So here we are going to get all the posts of this particular profile, and we can do it by self get object, because here we are returning a profile. Okay, so self get object and get all authors. Let me look it up. How did we name this method? So get all authors posts. This is exactly what we want. Okay, so I'm going to bring it to the views and paste it over here. So now we have get all authors posts, and we are passing it to the template. So we are passing it to the detail HTML, and let's also write down context, and here maybe length posts. So we will check the length of the posts, and if there are some posts, we will return true, and if there aren't any, we will simply return false. So I'm going to write down true if length of self, and then I'm going to actually copy this, put it over here, and then if this is simply greater than 0, then it will be true, and if not, it's going to be false. Okay, and then we will be using this first to check if there are any posts of this particular profile, and if this is the case, we will simply display the posts. So yeah, I think this is it for the get context data, and I actually think that we created our profile detail view. So now we can actually make sure to save the views py, and we can start working on our detail HTML. So inside the profiles, let's create another file called detail HTML, and here we will also need to do some coding. So first of all, let's inherit from base HTML. Then we will have a block title and a block content. All right. Here, let's begin with a div class is equal to UI grid. Then we will create another div class is equal to row. And then inside, let's do a split as we did before. So I'm going to create a div class is equal to, and then let's put in for wide column. And this is going to be the div where we will display the avatar, where we will display some statistics, how many posts did the user write, how many friends does the user have, and so on. And then another div will be for the posts. So here I'm going to put in div class, and then if here we have 4, then we need to put in 12 over here, 12 wide column. All right, and I'm going to close it off. So let's begin from the for wide column, and I'm going to write down div class is equal to, actually, before we do something over here, let's put in a block title for now. We're just going to put in profile detail, and here I'm going to put in the UI grid for now object. I'm going to save it, and let me go to the profiles. Let me select a particular slug. So here will be LM. and I'm going to head over to profiles and then slug. So in this case, it will be LM. And here is our test user. So this is the object, okay? With the profile, with the detail view, we have access to the object like this. And what I'm going to do at the top is to add a break line. So let's see how this looks right now. It looks better, okay? So this is working, and yeah, now we can delete the object and continue working on our divs. So here I'm going to put in image class and then UI medium rounded image, and this is going to be the profile image. So object avatar dot URL. Okay. So again, we are going to the models, to the avatar, and we are grabbing the URL of that avatar and putting it as the source. So now if we save this, refresh, here is the avatar, okay? And yeah, as the next step below the avatar, we can create a h1 tag and put in over here object.user. So we don't want to display the string representation. We want to display the user over here. So I'm going to save this, refresh, and as you can see, here is the test user. So yeah, now let's create something else for the statistics. So I'm going to create another div. Div class is equal to UI vertical fluid menu, and I'm going to close it off over here. Inside, I'm going to put in a div class equal to item, and I'm going to close it off over here. And then inside, I'm going to put in posts, and here we are going to get the number of posts of the particular user. So div class is equal to UI label, and then over here, let's write object, and then I have to go to the models and get post number. This is the method that we are interested in. So I'm going to bring it in over here, and yeah, let's close off the div. So this is for the posts, and let's copy this and paste it below. And now we will take care of likes given. So again, let's head over to the models, get likes given number. This is the one, and let's put it over here. Okay, so now if we save it, let's take a look how this looks like. And it looks pretty nice. Okay, so we have 2 posts of this particular user and likes given 0. Okay, so let's continue. If we have likes given, let's put in also likes received. So I'm going to copy this, paste it below, and let's put in likes received. And here I'm going to also go to the models and grab this one, get likes received number, and put it over here. All right. And finally, let's also have friends. So again, I'm going to copy this, paste it over here, and let's put in friends. And one more time to the models. Do we have get friends number? We have get friends number. So I'm going to copy this and put it to the detail, get friends number. All right. So now I'm going to simply save this and refresh. And this is looking pretty nice. Okay. Below, we will create a button for inviting this particular user to our friends list, we will see some statuses. So if we simply click the invite button, we will see waiting for approval, and if he or she accepts our invitation, we will see the remove button. Okay, but this is something that we will do in a second. And now let's focus on this 12 white column. Here we are going to check if length posts, and if this is the case, if we head over to our views PY, if this is the case, here we have length post true or false. So if this is true, we are going to display the posts. Okay, so if we have length posts, we can create a for loop for post in posts, and we will simply display, for now, let's put in div class is equal to segment UI fluid, and inside let's put in post content. Okay, so I'm going to actually, let's do an else also, and here if this isn't the case, if length post is equal to false, let's put in h1 no posts of this user, h1. All right, so I'm going to hit refresh, and we have test post 4 and test post 5. All right, so now let's work on this button, and we can actually grab some code from the profile list, I think, because we already written the logic. So if we head over to the views PY, the most of get context data was coming from our profile list view, and this is profile list. So if we head over to the profile list, we should see this exactly code. So I'm going to simply copy this, and yeah, I think this is it, and I'm going to put it inside of detail HTML. So we need to do it over here, and I'm going to simply paste it. Let me fix this really quickly. Come on. All right, let's try this out. So I'm going to hit refresh, and we have add to friends, but we've pasted it unfortunately in the wrong place. So I'm going to grab this div and put it over here. And then I'm going to bring this a little bit to the left. Let's refresh now, and we have add to friends. All right, so we will later center this, but the most important thing is to check if this is working. So I'm going to press add to friends, and here we have field ID expected number but got dot. And I think the problem is over here. So we need to change obj to object everywhere. Okay, so let's do it very quickly. Object, then we have object, 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 and hopefully this is it. So, oh yeah, here we have obj as well, so let's change it to object. Object friends all, object. Yeah, let's try this out right now. So I'm going to save this, go back, refresh, and then remove from friends. Profile matching query does not exist. So profiles views py and get object, where we have profile object get slug by slug. Alright guys, so I was able to identify the problem, and unfortunately we will have to modify our code to be a little bit more advanced than I was hoping to write. And we will do that in just a second. And to be more precise, we need to modify the code in the profiles application in the models py file, and to be exact precise, we need to look into our save method, because the logic over there isn't perfect. I didn't test it really well, so now it's time to fix some issues. And the issues are, whenever I press the save and continue editing, we have a new slug, and then if I press it again, we return to the old one. So each time the model is saved, the slug is being changed, and this is a very big problem. So we will do this. I hope you are familiar with the basics of Python object-oriented programming. So I'm going to create some variables: initial first name, and I'm going to set it to none, and then a private variable for initial last name, and I'm also going to set it to none. Okay. Now I'm going to override our init method, and I'm going to put in self args and keyword args, and then inside we just need to run super init, and then put inside the args and keyword args. Okay, so now we need to refer to this initial first name and the last name, and I'm going to explain this in just a second. So let's put inside self initial first name, and let's set it to the self first name, and then self initial last name, and let's set it to self last name. Okay, and over here we will have the previous values before we run the save method. Okay, so we will have the previous values of the first name and the last name. And now if we take a look at over here and to the save method, well, first of all, we can set to slug to be equal self slug, and then over here we can just write down a self first name. If it doesn't match our self initial first name, that means that the first name has been changed and we want to execute this code. And then here, instead of and, we will change this to or, and here we will simply write self last name not equal to self initial, and we will change first name to last name, first name to last name. Okay, and we will have one more condition, or simply self slug is blank. Okay, so if the slug is blank, or we changed the first name because it's not equal to the initial first name, or we changed the last name because it's not equal to the initial last name, then we are going to execute this code. And actually, before we do that, we will also need to write another if statement over here, and let's write if self first name and self last name. So if we have those first names and last names, we can execute this particular code over here. And in other case, we just want to execute this one. All right. So now if we go ahead and save this, let's see if this will fix our problem. I'm going to refresh, save and continue, and nothing has changed over here. Save and continue, save and continue. Okay, so this is working. And then let's head over to profiles. Okay, I'm going to select another one, test user 2. So here I'm going to press first save and continue. We have still test user 2, but here if I put some first name and last name, let's save and continue, the slug changes, okay? And then if I save and continue again, it doesn't change. All right, so let's create another user to see if this is also going to work. I'm going to put in test user 8. Save, save, and let's head over to home, profiles, test user 8, and we have test user 8, but then if we change here something and here something, we will have a new slug, okay? So now let's see if this will be working. So I need to go to the slug lm, and let's add to friends, and it's waiting for approval. So this is finally working, okay? All right, and now what we need to take care of is if we go to the profiles, we have this C profile button, and now we need to take care of this click. So first of all, we are going to stay in the models.py file, but we will just go a little bit up, and yeah, somewhere, where is our string representation? Over here. So I'm just going to move it to the top. Below the objects, here we will have our string representation, and below we will create another method called get absolute URL, okay? And here we have, okay, we need to import reverse. So from Django shortcuts, we don't have it here, okay. So let's import from Django shortcuts reverse. And now over here, we need to provide the application and the name of our view registered in the URLs.py. So it's profiles, the application name is profiles, and then we head over to the views, not the views, sorry, the URLs, and where is this detail view? It's over here, okay? So this is profile detail view, and I'm going to copy this and put it over here, and then we want to set the keyword arguments as the slug, because here in the URLs.py we are expecting a slug. So in the models.py, let's set the slug to be equal self slug, okay? And now we are controlling this from one single location. So if we decide to change something, we will only need to, for example, in the templates, we decided to change, for example, slug to primary key, or we changed the name of the view, we can simply update this from this single location. We don't need to jump all over the templates and change the details. We just can do it from here. And how can we use it? Well, let's save the models.py file, and let's go to the profile list, and let's find the C profile button. Here what we need to do is to set href, and then let's take a look at the loop. Here we have obj and object list, so this is what we need to use. So I'm going to put in here obj and then get absolute URL, okay? and then I'm going to close it off over here. So let me save this and let's see if this is working. So I'm going to refresh, see profile, and there it is. Okay, so this is working very well. Alright guys, so I think we can finish off over here. This part was a little bit longer than I expected because we had to fix some issues with our slug. And again, the problem was if we had the first name and the last name, because then every time a model was saved, this particular an object was saved, this particular path has been executed. Okay, so the first time we saved it, we had the slug created based of our first name and last name, and then we simply this returned true, and while it's true we created another slug based of our first name last name, but we added our random code. And then if we saved it again, we simply subtracted this get random code because this this returned false, so we didn't add the get random code. And yeah, it simply changed from without code to with code, and then without code again to with code. So that was a big problem, and we did some additional conditions. So we got the initial first name and the initial last name before we actually executed the save method, so we could compare if the first name and the last name has actually changed, and then if the self slug is equal to none. So this is the first condition, and then we have if self first name and last name. So if we have something in the first name and last name, then we are executing this part of code, and in other case we are creating the slug based of the self user. So yeah guys, this is it. This is it for this part. We will see each other in another one. Hope you have a great day or a great night, and see you soon. Take care and bye bye.